Welcome to the Work, Wealth, and Travel podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and this podcast is your guide to start creating a lifestyle by design. From entrepreneurship, money and finance, taxes and residencies, and everything in between, this show highlights the nuances of a true global citizen lifestyle. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Work, Wealth, and Travel podcast. So, today is a solo episode. I'm going to keep it pretty short. I'm going to chat about some updates to the show. If you have been listening this week and last since the new year, I'm sure you have noticed some changes. But also, I'm going to be chatting about I am here in Paraguay, as I mentioned a few episodes ago. So, I'm going to be chatting about what it looks like for the residency process. I get so many questions about this. It is on my YouTube channel, but I wanted to create some content here for anybody who is potentially interested in this program and why I think it is a great starting program option. So let's first dive into some changes. So if you have been listening to the podcast for a while, I know many of you have, and or if you have been listening just for this month of January, usually we have a pretty solid structure. So usually Monday is sometimes a solo episode, sometimes I take a break on Mondays, Wednesday is a guest interview, and then Friday is Digital Nomad Digest with myself and with Cami. However, when the new year started, I obviously had so many different goals and things that I wanted to do, and I was just so done playing by the rules. I got rid of some clients that I've been working with. I really just radically changed quite a few things in the business, and I was just so done playing by the rules. I felt that especially with this podcast, like on my YouTube, I don't record and release videos every certain day, every Wednesday or Friday or whatever it may be of every single week. It's just kind of when there's content, and I'm always creating content for it. So there's definitely usually multiple videos a week, but even still, I just release them once they're edited and ready. And I was like, a lot of the shows that I listen to for podcasts, they just release episodes whenever they feel like it. And it's usually multiple episodes per week, but it is just still whenever they feel like it. So I was like, you know what? I'm done playing by the rules. All the shows that I listen to kind of follow their own schedule. When they are feeling aligned and or inspired, they record and release an episode. And that is exactly what I want to do. And I just want to simplify things instead of having to be by a structure and having this whole workflow that has to go through so that the podcast episode takes 5 days to be produced and edited and released and show notes and all of these things. Like, I just want it to be so much more effortless than that. So that is what I'm following in 2024. I am done with the rules. Like I said, I am just doing things my way and what feels best for me. And so this is how it's going to be. Now, I do still have guest episodes, probably once or twice per week. I'll be releasing guest episodes. I'll be doing some solo episodes, and Cami and I will still be doing the Digital Nomad Digest segment. Um, it won't still be on Fridays. It will just kind of be whenever. Maybe once per week, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. It will completely just depend. And if there are any topics that are of interest to you, then please DM me. All of my links are below on any of the platforms. I'm literally everywhere all the time. But yeah, I kind of was just overplaying by the rules. So that is what it is looking like for me for 2024 and into the future. Just being very aligned in business and where I want to be and what I want to spend my energy doing. Okay, so with that update out of the way, let's dive into the Paraguay residency process. If you listened to my solo episode, I believe that was a few weeks ago now, around the new year, I have been in Paraguay for about a month now, almost a month. We'll probably be back at some point later this year. It's been really great being here and just building more of a community and of a network here, going out to play paddle. Paddle is such a thing here. So we have been going out to play paddle, my friends and I, meeting up with other friends, meeting up with clients as well, because some of them are in Paraguay, some of them are passing through, some of them live here. So meeting up with clients as well and just building more of a community and a network here. So it is nice to have some sort of grounding when like myself, I've been living out of a suitcase and in basically a different country every single month for the last 3 years, which, like I've said in a previous episode, travel is not the goal of 2024. That is not the objective for me at all. So if we travel a lot, if we travel a little, doesn't really matter to me. I have bigger goals than just traveling. And I love that my partner is also very aligned in that. So it's been really nice chilling here, being in a really nice Airbnb, being super productive. The only problem here for me is the food. I don't love the food. I don't eat meat. If you eat meat, you are fine in Paraguay. I don't eat meat. There's not a lot of good fresh fish here because obviously it's a pretty landlocked country. But yeah, so food can be a struggle. But everything else for the most part is awesome. So who knows when we'll be back, but I'm sure it won't be too long. Okay, as promised, let's actually dive in to the residency option. So if you are interested in any of these, then reach out to me. My email is nicole@workwealthandtravel.com. But if you want to message me on social, any of the things, if you have questions, if you want to move forward with the process, please feel free to do so. All of my links are below. I typically recommend the Paraguay residency process as a good starting residency. And having some conversations, some podcast recordings and whatnot with others in adjacent spaces recently has been so interesting for me because I've kind of formulated in my mind what I've always thought but never really had words for. And that is that this once you leave your home country, in a lot of cases, especially if you're going to go the Paraguay residency route, it's really a game and you gotta play the game. So the banking infrastructure here in Paraguay is horrible unless you are actually living here full time and you have the facturas and you're paying into that every single month. You have the phone bill, you have, like a utility bill or a rental lease, whatever. If you don't have that, it's going to be basically impossible for you to get any pretty good bank account. There are a few other options. Money laundering is definitely a thing in this country. So there are some banks that you want to be a little bit more hesitant of than others. And if you are interested in that, then just send me a DM. But it is a good starting residency option. It is not the be all end all, in my opinion, of like the only residency option that you will need or want. You want to start residency stacking, you want to get more bank accounts, but it is a really good basic infrastructure to have a 0% tax system where you're not paying tax. If you want to make it a bit more legit, message me. Um, we can help set up. It is a Paraguay company and it's taxed at 10% flat rate, which is still freaking amazing. I mean, now Dubai is 9% if you make over 100K, which probably most people are. So you're going to be paying some sort of tax with the OECD and the EU and all of these bodies who need some sort of tax. If they don't want to be on a black or gray list, you're going to have to just be paying some tax. And that's kind of the reality that the world and countries, unfortunately, due to the pressure of these huge governing bodies, have to succumb to. That is a story for another day. But yeah, basically, the moral of the story, you are going to have to pay likely some sort of tax. So you can still pay through the pass-through entity, no tax. But if you really want it to be completely legal structure, potentially work your way towards getting a bank account here in Paraguay, a good bank account, then we can help with that as well. And it is a super low tax rate. So that's kind of the business aspect once your residency is set up, because you do need to be a resident in Paraguay to have a business structure, but we can still help with that if you are interested and have a resident sign on, have my lawyer sign on, and then pass that over to you once you do gain residency status. However, there are two options if you are looking for residency, and then I'll dive a little bit into citizenship. I get so many emails about wanting citizenship because people want diversification options, but any citizenship anywhere, it's gonna require time or money. And that's just the reality. There's no easy citizenship options, and I don't think there should be. You really should have to work toward getting another passport. It's not something that's easy. If you have 150,000 still for 2024, you can do a Caribbean option, which is usually what I recommend to clients if they want something that is fast, because that will easily be less than a year, depending on the country that you come from and a few other factors. But that will be the cheapest and the easiest option with pretty solid, for the EU at least, access. You kind of want that in a portfolio. You're not just going to want just that one passport. but I mean, 100 starting at 150K upward, depending on certain factors, is so inexpensive for a passport. And like I've said in a previous episode, I don't think it will be that price for all of 2024. Talking to my team, prices are likely to go up just because the St. Kitts and Nevis passport did increase last year. So if you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to me and we can get the ball rolling ASAP on that process for you for such an inexpensive passport. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, I digress. Temporary residence. So we'll start with temporary. If you want to get residence, there's two options. There's TR and PR, permanent residence. Temporary residence, you will have to be on the ground either way for both of these residency options. With temporary, as it stands right now in the beginning of 2024, again, there were multiple changes in 2023 to the process. Of course, there was a huge change in 2022, all subject to what the government says, does, what they want, all of the things. So this could change in the future, and I usually keep all the updates on my YouTube channel, so link below if you want to stay up to date with everything that is happening with all of these processes in Latin America, especially Paraguay. But as it stands in 2024, for TR, you will have to come into the country and you will need just basic documentation, the FBI background check, marriage certificate, if applicable, birth certificate, pretty straightforward documents. Every other residency process, especially in Latin America, is going to require more documentation. So as of right now, how it stands, super simple and straightforward. Now, if you are interested in TR, you'll need those three documents, apostille from your country, and then you will need to show up on the ground in Paraguay. I recommend staying at least a few days minimum, but once the process is started, you can basically stay here until you get the residency, which is about 5 months. We can expedite the process for you to be faster if you are looking for it to be about 2 months' time as well, if you do need that ASAP. And that's pretty much it. We will handle everything for you on the ground. We submit everything. We get you to sign a power of attorney so that we can do everything on your behalf. And that is all that is required of you. Literally so freaking simple. The easiest residency program in the world, quite honestly, right now, again, could change. Everything is subject to change in this industry. So that's TR. PR is a little bit more permanent, I'm going to say. So I guess with TR, I should mention, once you have that for 2 years as it currently stands, then you will come back. So year 1, you have to come back to the country. Year 2, you have to come back to the country. Year 3, you come back to the country, and then you'll apply for permanent residence. And that essentially will mean that you will, once you obtain your PR, you are a permanent resident forever, and you will only have to enter Paraguay once every 3 years to keep that active and then renew it once every 10 years. So most cards you do have to renew for PR, or even ID cards, you do have to renew every 10 years. So pretty standard, you do have to renew that. But if you want to skip the TR and just go to PR, then now this is not always approved. So we work very diligently with our team on the ground here to try to get your business plan approved. The government is pretty strict with this specific PR and the businesses that they want to bring in and the business plan. But if you do want to invest in either property or have a business in Paraguay, then it is 70,000 US dollars, and they will need proof of funds. You will need to set up the business. You have 10 years to set up the business and to make the investment in Paraguay. So that's nice because you do have a little bit of a time frame, but they will need to see proof of funds. They will need to see the business plan, and you do actually have to follow through and make that investment. So once we have all of that documentation in the format that they want to see it and are a bit more likely to approve it, again, it doesn't always get approved, but if it's approved, awesome. If it's not approved, then we just go the TR route. So either way, you will get the residency. It just depends on if it's going to be TR or PR, but we will always try with PR if you are looking to invest in the country. And if not, then go into PR. So those are the only two options. Then citizenship, like I said, I get so many questions wanting the citizenship. Just because residence is so freaking easy does not mean that the citizenship is the same. So dual citizenship, you legally cannot have in the country unless you are from Spain or Italy, sometimes Argentina, depending on the case. But that is a very case by case basis. But if you are not from one of those two countries, you will have to give up your passport in order to get the Paraguay passport. Now, of course, there can be ways around this, but if you are considering that you may want it, what I will say to you is you will need to either live in the country full time for 3 to 5 years before you can really think, and of course, have ties to the country and speak the language before you can really think about getting the citizenship, or, I mean, it's best, of course, if you have both, but have ties to the country. So have bank accounts, maybe have a business set up here, have investments here, have a property here. Then you may be more likely to be approved as well. Again, never any guarantees. But if you have both of those, so if you have the 3 to 5 years living here and you have strong ties, your chances are much, much better. In some cases, you may not have to give up the passport. It very much so depends. And the process to actually get the passport takes multiple years. It's a very case by case basis, so I can't give definitive, but I would say starting at 2 to 3 years, and it could potentially take much longer. Your investment, you're looking at starting at around $50,000 to actually get this process started for you. And again, it's going to take multiple years. So that $50,000 is an investment over multiple years, but it does just depend on the complexity of the case and what that looks like. There are so many moving pieces to that. So it will depend based on your situation, which of course we take a look at before diving in and getting that potentially ready for you. So that is the residency and potential citizenship options. Quite honestly, I have partners in almost every single country in Latin America, and understanding their residency, their citizenship processes, their tax optimization, if they do offer that. Quite a few countries do, depending on your specific situation. However, if you're looking for citizenship, there are probably better countries, honestly. Paraguay is so difficult, and also the legality of it is so much in question that if you're wanting citizenship, there are quite a few other options, and quite a few other options that are probably better for your situation. So if you do want to chat, I have a 15-minute consult link below, and I can hear a bit more about your situation and see which option could be best for you. And then from there, we hop on a call with the team and we strategize on what could be best for you. So the 15-minute call is really just to see if we would be able to help you with your diversification options. So the link is below if you are interested in that. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. A little bit of an update, a little bit of the process, because I get so many questions about it and there is so much interest with Western countries. Just people not vibing with what's going on. Don't blame them. And so much chaos happening in the world. Diversification is really the key. If you have left your home country, or if you're thinking of leaving your home country, if you want to be remote, if you don't want to live there again, this is also a long-term plan, right? So if you think that you might be going back to your home country at some point or buy a house there or something like that in the next 5, 10 years, probably best to just stay tied to your home country. But if this lifestyle is truly for you for the rest of your life, then that is where these global diversification options come in, and we can help you in Europe, we can help you in Latin America, we can help you in the Caribbean. I even have clients in Canada and America, because sometimes coming from Latin America, you want that Western lifestyle, which totally understand that as well. So if you are interested, all of my links are below. Book a 15-minute consult with me. Let's chat. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. You've just listened to the Work, Wealth, and Travel podcast. If anything from this episode resonated with you, I would appreciate if you share this podcast on your socials, and of course, be sure to tag me. And don't forget to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for joining me on this global citizen journey, and I'll see you in the next episode.